I would say sometimes we got to downsize so we can save money. Like I know a family right now that moved into a room, and they moved into a room with the intentions on saving bread. Sometimes you go backwards to go forward better. You can't have convenience when you're in struggle. You got to make yourself uncomfortable. You can't have convenience when you're in struggle. You got to make yourself very uncomfortable. So again, if this man that just said that, if he puts himself in a room, right, all his family in a room and we share in this space, it's going to save you money, one. Two, it's going to make you as a man realize, like, I got to do more. I got to do more. But you downsize so you can go back forward better. You don't come to a dead-end block and cry. What you do is you put that goddamn car in reverse, you back that thing up, and then you go the opposite direction, going back towards being great. Sometimes we got it, that's life. But you got to be willing to do it. And you can't look at yourself, because having a plan is being a man.
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Yo, today somebody getting offended. And it's hilarious because that's what I like to do. Because sometimes I realize when telling the truth, you ruffle feathers. So anyone that hear this conversation today, I don't personally know you, and you personalize this conversation, that means you got some work to do. Because reality is, I'm entitled to my opinion, just like you entitled to yours. And if you feel a way, you can call in and we can have a conversation about it. But today we are calling out the old YNs. The old heads that just don't want to grow up, who stuck in their glorious moments where they like to talk about what they used to do and how they used to do this and when they did this and when they did that. And the sad part is these people are so stuck in a time, they complain about the nuance of children that's being created, but they don't even reflect on themselves, seeing that they're the reasoning to hurting, one, the culture, and two, they make very bad parents. Old YNs have a mentality where it's do as I say and not as I do mentality. When you have a mentality like that, you're the worst parent on earth. Because to actually teach a child, it's better that you show them by example. You could say less by not saying nothing, by just showing a child how to be. If you want your child to be great, lead by example. Do what you say that you telling them to do, just do it. Look at this nowadays. You got men, and I'm going to go into, they're going to get mad. Last week, we did a lot of diabolicalness about women, and I got a lot of shots, and I'm like, listen, if I could talk about the men, I could talk about the women, I can go back and forth. One of the ladies asked me the other day, how do you have a right to say anything about a woman? I said, because I'm a man. When y'all have conversations about men, I don't care, because a lot of the things I don't fit. But if there are people that fit these categories, we need to reference them and call them out on their nonsense. That's why the world is a bad space. I don't want a participation award for being a man. I want an award for being a man. Meaning by action, by leading my family, doing right by my family. Right? We're very sacrificial. But when you look at the old YNs, they're so selfish. They're the dudes that's on the Jordan line waiting for the Jordans to arrive and they 50 years old. I'm not knocking nobody that has this nostalgia where they still like Jordans, but it's like, you look kind of crazy. I've said this on multiple occasions. I think Jordans are like hood people sneakers. And a lot of people got offended when I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to say how I feel. I think it's gotten so ghetto, it's just disgusting. But again, I'm entitled to my opinion. But if someone get offended, that's entirely up to you, because in your mind, they might not be ghetto sneakers. But you might say something about something else that might fit me. And I might not agree with it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's your opinion. But when you talk to these guys nowadays, you look at it, the fact that it's a lot of people don't want to grow up. They don't want to grow the hell up. They act so immature to the point where you're mad at the fact that women aren't submissive to these men, but these men aren't men, so therefore a woman will never be submissive to a person that she doesn't see as a great leader. I think nowadays more men need to be submissive to the woman, because I see a lot of women who are actually better leaders than men. So when I talk from both lenses. I know great women who are great leaders. And I know great men who are great leaders. But the one thing you gotta learn is who you are and not pretend to be something that you feel. Just because you feel something don't mean it's reality. You could be the worst person on the team but trying to be the leader. You can't lead from behind. You have to lead from being in front. You can't, again, let me say that again, you can't lead from behind. You're so codependent, but yet still you're trying to lead. That doesn't make sense. And a lot of times we have to be more action-based people. We're in a generation now where more people are more vocal than they are with their actions. They talk a lot, but they do absolutely nothing. They talk a lot, but they do absolutely nothing. Their words don't stand for anything. I'm an principled man, I'm an integrity guy, and I'm very morally inclined. I care about others. I'm not selfish. Anything that I've ever done in the world, I maliciously, never attached by maliciousness, never, ever, ever. It was never intentful. I was the guy that bullied bullies. I was the guy that bullied bullies. I was the guy that went at gangsters, tough guys. I had fun with them because of the fact that I would like challenge. But when you look at nowadays, you have grown men who are literally living their childhood time over. They haven't graduated high school mentally. This is disgusting. Go ahead.
What do you think about the old men who continuously perpetuate the gangster lifestyle? They're like 40, 50 and they're still banging and they're still outside and, you know, doing wild things. How do you feel about that?
I think they have no other claim to fame. Once you remove that last aspect, they have nothing else to hold on to. It's equivalent to the man that comes home from jail. And they glorify the fact that he came home from jail. I think a lot of people continue to go to jail because they keep celebrating him from coming home from jail. I think it's crazy. I don't celebrate somebody for losing. They reward people for coming home from jail, and then they just look at it like it's a regular thing when somebody come home from college. I think that's crazy. I've seen people legit have parties for Tyrone who came home from 40 years. Get him some job applications now. Get him some skills. Get him the things so he can survive. But a party ain't doing nothing for him. But again, if you say this, people get offended, but I don't care. Because the ignorance has been glorified for so long that we don't even see it as ignorant anymore. It's normal. And we have to learn that culturally, we have to allow ourselves to not allow certain things in our culture anymore. I don't care about black or white. Because the same way you got OYNs that's black, you got OYNs that's white. They got a new term too. It's OYCs. I know y'all heard of that. YCs? You know what that means. I'm not gonna say the N-word, I'm not gonna say the C-word. Yes, they call them YCs. And they got the OYCs too. Listen, they got them in the cultures, every culture. Spanish culture got them also. There's this grown people who just don't want to grow the hell up. It's crazy. We glorify ignorance. I seen a guy the other day sagging his pants and had the nerve to have doodle stains. Had the nerve to have doodle stains. And the sad part is, you know who saw it? There was a little kid in the shop, was like, look. And he pointed to it. I looked over, and all you seen is what you seen. I said, this is crazy. This is what our culture has gotten to the point where we allow it. Laugh about it. Exile it. Cancel it. Y'all want to cancel everything for remarks. Let's cancel behaviors. Y'all want to cancel somebody for having an opinion that don't align with you. Let's cancel people's behaviors. Let's cancel the fact that people that don't take care of their children should be canceled. Let's cancel the men that don't step up for their family. Let's cancel them. Let's cancel the people that's not consistent with being good fathers. Let's cancel them. Let's cancel the mothers who are keeping their children away from their fathers. Let's cancel them. Let's cancel anything and everything, right? All right. Anything and everything that doesn't represent the culture accordingly. It's okay to be an unk. It's okay to be auntie, TT. It's okay to get older. It's actually a blessing to get older. There are a lot of people who just don't want to get older. Every day I wake up, I am grateful that I'm seeing years that I didn't think I was able to be able to see. I'm grateful. And I'm not going to be the guy that misrepresent my children, have my children look crazy because people are laughing about their father, who don't want to grow the hell up, who want to be immature, who want to carry himself like a child. Some people don't even understand. Some of the clothes you wear ain't even for you anymore. It's not for you. It's not for you. To my TTs, y'all gonna get mad. To my aunties, them little see-through outfits where you can see your panties is diabolical. It's diabolical. I'm sorry, you're gonna get mad, but it is what it is. That's crazy. Unks, come on. Y'all gotta grow the hell up. Listen, unks, you know certain things. You know what's crazy? You know the Nike text, that's for like young people. You don't see the unks doing it with the murder, like the ski masks on. How you a unk and you pull up your beard, you got a gray beard, and you don't see nothing wrong with it? It's crazy. And I'm like, yo, then you call it out. It's like you're being, oh my God, he's talking bad about the culture. No, that ain't my culture. That ain't my goddamn culture. That's your goddamn culture. That's not my culture. I do not subscribe. I do not even allow that to be me. Go ahead.
You know what's worse? When the unks, they got the whole Louis Vuitton outfit from head to toe with the fake chains on. And it's all matching too. He definitely an unk when you see that.
He living in his old dope boy years, you know, and it's sad because they just can't get past it. And they can't move on from it. And when you sit down and watch him, you're like, yo, you look crazy as hell. Somebody told me the other day, the thing about life is you're supposed to be youthful. Meaning you're supposed to hold on to your youth. There's nothing wrong with having a young spirit. But the saddest part is when you have young actions. You're supposed to have a young spirit. Young spirited is when you still believe you can do anything great, because that's the person that actually keeps us all inspired to keep achieving, is a young person in you. 9 out of 10 times, most people that believe that they could do anything, it started when they were younger. So that young person is what you want to hold on to, because that young person keeps you inspired to keep doing great things. Most older people, when they don't believe they can do anything, is because they lost their younger self. So when you listen to them, they talk as their older version of themselves, but they don't look at the young person that believe that they can fly. LeBron James is still doing what he do is because of the fact that he still believes he can do what he's doing. Because again, he doesn't allow his inability, his age to determine what he can't do. There's a lot of people right now who's actually giving up on themselves because of the fact that they haven't reached certain levels and they just say, you know what, it is what it is. I would rather die chasing my dream than to give up before I even get there. I would rather go out knowing I never stop going after what I want. There are some people who's given up on themselves by the time they were 20, by the time they were 30, by the time they just gave up. And it's sad when you listen to like the older guys, they really think they young. I'm like, bro, you like, they sending you AARP things. Anybody know what that is? They sending you AARP. Your Medicaid is fully all the way in. They starting to talk about your retirement. Like, this is what we not having conversations on. It's gonna be scary when that guy that act young forever get older and realize he can't afford to retire. Because you was being that OYN. You was thinking young.
Do you think the coddling of the mothers growing up, does that make somebody, can that turn somebody into an OYN, like just always being coddled since a kid by your mother? Of course you need the motherly love, but after a while, don't you think it's a little bit too much?
I think it could go both ways. I think that the moms, sometimes, and I'm gonna be fair, when you take a mother who's, let's say hypothetically in a single parent situation, sometimes she overcoddles because of the fact that the father's not there, so she feels guilty. And she overcoddles to try to compensate for the fact that the father's not there. So she feels like in her heart, she's doing something right. But in reality, in order to create a man, you gotta teach a man. In order to create a woman, you gotta teach a woman. Sometimes they don't realize that you're raising that young father from the day he's born. You're raising that young mother from the day they're born. So when that child is very selfish, you'll see that that was from when they were a child. Their parents never changed that mentality. So therefore now this kid becomes the adult, and now they have the same childlike mentality because no one ever forced them to grow up. Simple things as making your own bed, right? Being responsible for your wash load. These are the things that are basically raising someone up. But again, there are people right now to this day, they can call their mothers and their mothers still washing their clothes. You know the scariest thing, let me say this first, you know the scariest thing? You see, keep it. You know the scariest thing though? Is when your mother still has to raise her son or daughter and you're a grown up. It is so scary when you meet parents that still have to raise their children as adults. Yo, and look at this. In my generation, if you're a parent from my generation, you in your 60s or 70s, right? So in my generation, the parents are 60 and 70. There were 60 and 70-year-old parents who are still raising their 30 and 40-year-old sons and daughters. That's scary, right? I'm gonna define an unk and how different it is from an OYN. An unk is when you get older, you're wise, you're mature, you give knowledge, you give gems. Auntie is the same thing. Auntie is when she's comfortable being auntie. She knows she's auntie. She knows that she has to carry herself as auntie. When you're old YN, is the unk that's trying to be the maturity level of the young people. And they trying to fit in when they're supposed to actually be leading by example and showing them how to be. But a lot of old YNs, they tend to not see that you are the unk, but you're trying to look young and you're holding on to a lifestyle that already surpassed you. It's like sitting in a time warp. You understand? And it's scary when you see people like that, right? But again, you can't change a person's mentality if they're not willing to change their mentality. There are a lot of people that get offended when you have these conversations. I'm gonna allow some people to call in today. Someone call in 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. You know the issue with not aging is people lack accountability. The one thing about getting older is you become accountable. Everything that goes on in your life, you become accountable for it. You don't look for escapes. You look for solutions. More people actually still looking for a reason to allow themselves to behave a certain way. You know it's scary when you talk to an older person, they say something like, because my dad wasn't there. Yo, you are 45 years old. You are 45 years old. And the reality is being 45 and still blaming your father, that's crazy. I get your father wasn't in your life. And the person gonna say, he don't know what he's talking about. Listen, my father was never in my life. My father was never in my life, right? In fairness, I'll give you a quick story. The other day, I was having a conversation with a guy, and he looked at me and said, I've given my children every clothes, every shoes, every video games that I never had in my life. He said, Q, your kids don't look fresh ever. And I looked at him, and I smiled. And he said, what? I said, you made your children look better than you growing up. I made my children better than me growing up. He said, what do you mean by that? I said, I made my children everything that I'm not, they became. My children are street. I grew up in the streets. My son is gonna be a great father. I know that for sure. My son will be a great husband. I know that for sure. Me, I was a 10 ladies man. My son is a 1 ladies man. Everything that I saw as problematic for me, I made sure not to allow it to spew over to the next generation. I broke the curse. I learned how to be a father, so my grandchildren will have a great father. Let me say that again. I learned how to be a father, so my grandchildren will have a great father. See, sometimes I don't come on here and give my backstory, so some people tend to look at me from where I'm at today. I'm a former convicted felon, former gang member, let me take that back, former gang leader. Let me say it right? And it sounds crazy, but it's just what it is. These are the things that I've done to the point where I glorified this mentality because I grew up in an environment that glorified the mentality. For those who don't know my story, you can Google my name and you can see that I really got active. And I'm not proud of it, but it is a part of my story. And the one thing I don't do, and if anybody that follows me on a consistent basis, they realize that I do not glorify prison. I do not glorify lessons that I had to learn from. I think that is an ignorant catalyst for you to hold on to that moment as a term of endearment to represent who you are today. I think so many people are so stuck in the past, they can't see the brightness of their future. Their future is dark because they won't leave the darkness in the past. There are a lot of things we experienced, but you can't allow yourself to continue to hold on to that experience as if that's currently still who you are. Sometimes we hold on to these moments that we've outgrown to the point where we stop growing. We hold on to moments so long that we stop growing. There are a lot of people who haven't grown because they still stuck on what they used to do. I get it. You were the child of prodigy. You were best at basketball. You didn't make it. It don't mean you didn't make it. It means you got to enjoy a moment where it was good for you. But there's other things that you could do in sports, like watch them. You don't got to be the best athlete no more. It's okay. You don't have to be the most, the girl that got all the attention no more. Life goes on. It's okay. But why don't you start working? Let's start working on being better parents. You know what scares me about a lot of these apps? And I don't want to single out none because they all allow it to happen. Content-wise, you see a lot of mothers acting like they kid's sister, and you see a lot of fathers trying to be their son's friends. And with that being said, that's already a problem in itself. You have grown-ups still trying to be their children's friends. And then when you wonder why, your children talk back to you as if you're one of their friends. When I grew up, they said you keep a child in a child's place. I never didn't get out of child's place until I became an adult. My mother and me never established no friend-to-friend situation. I was my mother's child. I am still my mother's child. Do my mother respect me as a man and I'm able to voice my opinion? Yes. But in the same breath, I've given her something to see as a man where she can see that. But as nuance of men, they tend to always blame everybody other than themselves. They lack accountability. And when you sit down and listen to it, I'm like, brother, you've made every poor decision up to this moment. That's why when you look at a human, they're a reflection of life's decisions. Every human you see is a totality of their life's decisions. It's a consistent, if a person is messed up in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, it's consistent bad decisions. Consistently. But again, there's no accountability. You're gonna look at your mom. You're gonna look at your dad. I know grown-ups who won't open a book and blame their mother for not knowing finances. And it took me years to realize this. I'm gonna make somebody laugh. You ever been in a classroom and you see that kid that gets mad when you call him out to read? You know how you get mad, right? Because he can't read. And the sad part is, that kid that can read will sit in the back of the class and goof off with this kid who maybe have a learning disability. Let's give him a grace. He may have a learning disability. But now what you do is, that kid that can read, you lower your curriculum, you lower your mentality to fit their mentality, and all you do is hold yourself back. There's a lot of people that do that every day. And in life, think about this. Kids, there's a person sitting in a classroom, he has a learning disability. He's mad at the fact that he can't read, so therefore he's distracting you from becoming the best version of you because he know he can't read. So guess what? He's gonna tell you, yo, you try to be smart? I ain't trying, I am smart. But he's offended because of the fact that he isn't smart. So therefore, what he do? He just tricked you out your own spot. You in the classroom neglecting what you have a gift at, but you're neglecting it in the potential that you can go here, you're gonna stay here because this person don't wanna see you surpass them. That's the problem with bad environments. That's the problem with the old YNs. When you have them old heads standing on the corner, they teaching these young people how to be ignorant. They're the person in that goddamn classroom. Still pushing the negativity into these young people. Telling them, yo, we sue whooping, we banging. You sound crazy. Come on. Mad grown. Mad grown. Old as hell. Look crazy. Yo, listen. The hardest thing about life is losing people. But the hardest part about life is losing people. But the second hardest part about life is losing people because you outgrew people. Let me say that again. It is hard in life to lose people. But it's even harder in life to lose people because you outgrew them. And it's scary when you sit down and talk to them, you're like, damn, like you are every bit of 16 at 40. You're 16. Old YNs. I'm scared. I'm so scared of the nuance of people that are going to be created by the people who still haven't grown up. Someone call in right now. 516-253-1150. One more time. 516-253-1150. Even if you don't want to call in, I'm going to let Tyler take questions from y'all guys. You guys can ask a question. Tyler, read off your question. Any question you want to ask, I'm going to let Tyler start reading off the questions also. So you can engage that way. Some people don't like to talk. Go ahead.
Anthony said, me parenting stern got me divorced. My ex-wife condoned her kids talking back to her, stealing, etc.
And Anthony, I hate to say this, the monsters that she created is the monsters you're going to have to deal with later. Because the monsters, when you allow a monster to be a monster, you can't complain about the monster you created. So Anthony, if at the end of the day, if she's not allowing you to parent the way you parent, you keep your premise, you keep your stance, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. But again, those children will be every bit of what she allowed them to become. And then she's going to be mad. That's the parents that's going to have to parent twice. It's just what it is. If you do it right once, you ain't got to do it twice. So when you see a lot of times these kids that got to get parented 2-3 times, it might be because the parents didn't do it right the first time. Someone can ask a question right now. I'm reading comments. Tyler's on it right now. The wavy is just said, ask any question right now. Right? And if you want to call in, you can call in to 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. But again, we got to learn this mentality that's hurting our culture, right? And I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I get offended by people that misrepresent my culture. And I'm going to tell y'all something. If you want to be pro whatever you want to be, you should be offended by people that actually hurt your culture. Because you know why? We get judged by the ignorance that they do. Come on. You're 40 years old, still sagging. You're 30 plus, and you don't take care of your kid, but you want your kid to be a doctor. There's an article I read the other day talking about nurture versus nature. They said the nuance of generation that is to come, they will be more products of their nature opposed to their nurture. They said the nurturing doesn't play an impact as much now as the environment, which is crazy if you think about it. They're so influential to the point where they will literally regurgitate any information they hear online and take it for fact. If you look at it, my generation, we believed the neighborhood, but we knew certain things were wrong. This new generation, whatever they believe is right. They have no real logic anymore. They're just so set. And that's the same thing as when you talk to some of the older cats. It's like talking to a kid. I'll give you a story. One day I come up on a block and I see a guy I grew up with. And I'm gonna be honest with you, all jokes aside, I was happy to see that he was alive, right? And when I pulled up on him, I'm like, yo, how you been, bro? Like, you know the first thing he said to me, which is crazy as hell, but I'm gonna tell you something. I want y'all to hear this good. As soon as I saw him, the first thing he said to me was like, yo, you sold out. So I went to say what up to him, trying to see that he was okay. He told me I sold out. I said, what you mean by that? And the one thing I like for people to do is give a person a chance to explain their logic. Hear him out. Even if you feel like it offends you, listen to them first. Hear him out. Because you might learn something in the conversation. You're going to learn that you're ignorant as hell. But anyway, so I asked him, what do you mean I sold out? He said, yo, you don't come around the hood no more. Nobody see you. The only time we see you online. And I said, I'm going to tell you something, brother. Hit him with the Hulk Hogan. I said, if you see somebody every damn day as a grown man, if you see somebody every day as a grown man, you know for a fact that man is a bum. Ain't no adults have time. Let me say that again. If me and you are grown men, and I'm seeing you every single day and we don't work together, and we don't live under the same roof, that mean y'all bums. I'm sorry, y'all bums. There's no way grown men have time at our age to be up in each other's behinds every day. That is crazy. I mean, you clearly ain't taking care of your family. You running behind a man all day worried about what he got going on, and that's why you ain't got nothing going on. You spend too much energy on what he ain't got going on. and what you ain't got going on. But the reality is, it makes you feel more prominent because of the fact that both of y'all in the same position. A bum don't know they're a bum when they're around bums. A bum don't know they're a bum when they're around bums. And let me establish this. What is a bum? A bum is a mentality. A bum is a mentality where it's like they always look for excuses. They never want to work hard. They're always looking for an easy way through life. They're always looking to take advantage of somebody. That's a bum mentality. When people think that a homeless person is a bum, I don't think that. That could be a person that fell on misfortunes. Life could have happened to them. Anything could happen. Good.
What do you think about the old YNs who's still looking to move in with women?
I'm going to be honest with you. There's only one man that I respect that moves in with a woman. And let me make sure I say this. The only man I respect that moves in with a woman is a man that got the place with the woman. That's the only time. If a woman don't respect you and you move in her place, I respect her for not respecting you. I'm going to keep it real with you. Because the three, you going against her nature. She's looking for a provider and you're running from your role and you want her to see you as a man. That's crazy. I'm just going to call it what it is. But a lot of people, they're going to get mad, right? They say, oh, I live in my girl crib and she respects me, cat. Be a fly on the wall and see how she violates you. You're lying to yourself. In order to see a woman to see a man, you got to be a man. A woman ain't going to see you just because you're just a male. You could be a big old male and she sees a male. She don't see a man. And then you're going to get mad at the women for not seeing a man when you act like a big old male. Right? A lot of y'all are boys. Right? Again, I can't force someone to change their ideology and their mentality. What I can do is show somebody what is reality. A lot of people in a crazy world right now, mentally. We live in a weird world. Tyler, give me some statistics today. I will say this, though. Me, personally, I'm not knocking no woman if she's like, I'm not knocking her. Because, again, the women, they have to feel secure. And if a man doesn't understand that, he's living in his delusion. It's just what it is. We can't go against the nature of a male and a female and expect them to compliment you because you haven't reached the level of maturity yet. You know something scary? Today we were talking, and I said, a lot of those guys that you see that don't have really nothing going on, a lot of them are very codependent on their woman. A lot of them. Go ahead, Tyler.
So we have some stats talking about black man's net worth over 40 to 59, and it says the median earnings are around 47,000 to 51,000 from 40 to 59. What do you think about that?
40 to 59,000?
47,000 to 51,000, but the age gap is from 40 to 59, so they're OYNs.
Okay, and after that, give it 30 to 40. But I will say this, though. It depends on what state with that income. Let me just say that. That could be skewed based on the state. Because there's certain states that 51,000 is a lot. And there's certain states that 51,000 is nothing. I'm just being honest. Like me personally, I live in New York. New York, 51,000 is not a lot of money. You're going to struggle up here. Right? But what I will say is, the issue I have with a lot of men that are high earners, and the reason why they'll never be high earners, you don't notice that men that are high earners always look for a relationship? Yeah, you notice that? The guys that don't have their life together always looking for a damn relationship. And a lot of those guys don't think that the woman, they don't think they're the problem. They think the woman is the problem. But they don't see that, right? They struggle because they need to get themselves together first, right? I can see if you've been in your relationship since y'all was kids and y'all aged up together, that's different. But when you meet a guy who's 30 years old, whose life is not together, and is looking for a relationship, that is diabolical. That's diabolical.
You know, in life we'll never always have it all put together, but what is a good age that, as a man, you should at least have certain things in order, like a base foundation?
I would say you should be on your trajectory by 30. You should be on having some form of a plan by 30, right? The earlier the better, but I would say 30. In my opinion, I see a lot of 30-year-old men who got relationships. They mothers. They live in their mama house, don't pay no bills. They have no ambition. They're lazy as hell, always got an excuse, complain about everything. You should be complaining about yourself. You old as hell and you got really nothing going on. And then you play lazy. And then you overly try to make yourself sound busier than what you actually are. And that's a reality. I would say about 30 years old, a man should like literally be focused and consistently disciplined. If not, he's gonna lose. He's gonna waste way more time. Because 25 is your full frontal develops. So I'm giving you 5 years from the full development of your frontal. Your full frontal is developed by 25, they say, right? So by 30, which is an additional 5, you haven't even decided like what is my trajectory, what is my plan, how am I gonna execute this? But bringing a woman in is usually what hurt them early. That's a reality. But again, you can't fix people who don't see that they have an issue. You can't help people who don't think they're sick. You can't change the mentality of people who already created this mentality, because a lot of people have created this mentality as a survival tactic. They don't see that they look crazy. You dress like children. You act like little boys. Like, and again, oh, he always got something to say. Like, let's call out the nonsense. Let's call it what it is. A lot of the men, if they're on here complaining, I bet you I'm a great role model for your sons. I bet you I'm a great role model for your daughters. And that's what you want to be as a man. You want to be a great role model for people to come after you. If you're not like that, then you're immature as hell. Because again, I don't do things in front of my children, so when I call my children out, they can't rebuttal. That's how I live. I'm not gonna do the things around my friends that I'm gonna do around my children, right? And we can't see our culture has gotten so sick that people will fight the truth with their emotions. Yo, you go into a battle, it's truth versus your emotions, and you're about to fight a full-fledged war with your emotions against the truth. And I'm like, you're gonna lose that battle because you can yell, kick, scream all you want. Facts are facts. An opinion is like they say it's like a bow, everybody got one. But again, give me some more statistics. Anything else? But again, you can't change the nature of humans. But a lot of people need to wake up and grow the hell up and start realizing that we're very immature. We're a very immature culture. And you know what? I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You know what always bothered me as a black man? I'm gonna tell the truth. To hear a Jewish kid at 13 is considerably a what? A man. But a 30-something-year-old black person is considered young. Damn. Listen to that statement again. A 13-year-old Jewish kid is considered an adult, but a 30-year-old black man is considered young, or a 30-year-old black woman is considered young. They getting their bar and bar mitzvahs to go into adulthood. We sitting back still talking about, I can't wait till my 35th and want to celebrate it like we 21. Go ahead.
Somebody said, what about home ownership? It's a lot of couples not buying homes but traveling for the gram.
I think some people, we're going to be fair. And this is me giving my opinion. Some people don't want to own a home, right? But don't be the couple traveling knowing you living off one of y'all mothers and fathers. See, the issue is you'll have a couple, they'll move into a parent's house and play relationship under a parent's roof. They play house under somebody else's house. And then they live their fake best life. Let me say that again. Then they live their fake best life and they act like they more than what they actually are. Now that is diabolical. That's diabolical, right? But in certain situations, some people don't want the responsibility. So that's why I say we gotta go to a case-to-case basis. But I don't respect couples who are traveling like crazy living under somebody else's roof. You know what? Listen to this. If your mother had to work 50 and 60 hours a week when you was a kid, and now you're a grown up and you still live under her roof and your mother got to work 50 and 60 hours, you a bum. You a bum. You a whole bum. I'm gonna say that again. If your mother had to work 50 and 60-hour work weeks when you were a kid and nothing changed with you becoming an adult and your mother is still carrying you and got to work all these hours, you a whole bum. You a whole bum. You get the Clown of the Day award. That is a clown. A whole clown. That lady don't get no breaks. That man don't get no breaks. Parents are still killing themselves while their kids in the house talking about they on Fortnite. Big old rusty man trying to get his 99 overall in 2K. Trying to get a 99 overall in 2K. While your mom at work busting her behind for you. And then you're going to say my life is hard. Your life is hard because you're lazy. Your life is hard because you don't want to make the sacrifices. Your life is hard because you don't become accountable. Your life is hard because you make every excuse under the world for you. But you can't see what you're not willing to do. Everyone has an excuse, but everyone is not accountable. Let me see this. Declining ownership rates. Only 33% of 30-year-olds own houses today. Rising age of buyers. The typical first-time home buyer is 38 years old, up from 33 in 2020. The rental shifts, 72% of renters are now 30 and older. And if you want to look even further, more children are living at their parents' house longer than ever, which is nothing wrong with that if you're extremely contributing to making your parents' life easier. Good.
With all the stats you just heard in terms of like home ownership, renting, and finances, do you think because of all the distractions and social media now, most people growing, getting older, they're too distracted to, take care of their real responsibilities in life?
I think when you see like a person that smokes weed, they smoke as a means of what? Escape. Social media has made more addicts than actual drugs. Social media has made more addicts than drugs. More people use the social media as a means of escape to the point where their reality hasn't gotten any better because their mentality has gotten even worse. Because again, I can fake it and look like I made it, but I'm never gonna make it because all the energy is spent on looking like I made it. The other day I was having a conversation with a young man. He is very arrogant and he has absolutely nothing. So arrogant. And I'm like, I don't know, your likes and your comments must got you feeling like your bank account is lit because your bank account sucks and you believe that you are God's gift to mankind. But that's their mentality, right? Something you want to read? Let's go.
He said, I agree with you, but look at the other side of the coin. If someone did 15 years and trying to establish back their life, so basically somebody did a lot of time and now they got out and they're trying to establish and transition.
But again, MYG, if you did 15 years, right, and being fair to you, that means you lost a lot of time and experience. So there has to be a level of grace for you. And I'm just being fair. And I'm not giving you an excuse. That's not what I do. I give grace. Meaning, there are certain levels of life that you didn't experience, so therefore you do have to catch up. But a lot of times those guys who are sitting on the corners going back and forth to jail repetitively, I can't feel sorry for them. I can't feel sorry for them. Because reality is you're constantly making poor decisions. An adult can't tell me they don't know what's wrong and right at this point. Choosing to do what's wrong and making an excuse for what you're doing wrong is an excuse. But the same way you do it all that time, I do give you grace because of the fact that you do got to catch up. And the fact of the matter is, if you are transitioning to the productive side, I want to give you your flowers. Because a lot of times, these people don't know it is easier to do what's wrong. It is easier to do what's wrong anyway. It's harder to get up and go hard every day and do what's right. It is harder every day to sacrifice. It is harder to get up every day and decide that I'm not going to be the father that raised me. It is harder to get up every day and say, I'm going to be a better man than I was shown. Because again, going against your teaching, right? It's like creating a whole new character. And a part of you in the beginning is going to start looking at yourself like, am I really this person? Am I crazy? Am I not crazy? Am I bugging? Am I not bugging? But the reality is, that person that just came home, you know how you expedite your process? You go around people that are already in that process. That's how you expedite the process. You catch up faster when you go around people that are already on the ball. It's gonna inspire you. I'm gonna bring up one of my friends. One of my guys, he come to my barbershop. And this is a true story. He did about 8 years. I think it was 6 to 8 years, somewhere around there. Anyway, he comes to the shop. He used to ride a scooter to the shop. He was sleeping on his grandfather's couch, right? Every day he would say to me, Q, I ain't going back. I'm focused. I'm going to do what I got to do. I told him simply, stay away from the problems. Problems, you can either A, diffuse or intensify your problems. How do you diffuse your problems? You don't go around people that bring problems. You go around people that diffuse problems. You go around people that are more logical. You go around people that are more strategic and more conscious of their behaviors. He listened to me. You fast forward. My brother got his apartment. He was sleeping on his grandfather's couch. Went, got his HVAC license, right? Not only that, he's actually doing his electrician license right now. Not only that, he got his apartment. He married his wife, moved his family into his place. He bought a beautiful car. And this is a guy that used to be on a scooter every day. One of the electrical scooters. And he said, yo, Q, I see people laughing at me, but there's a saying, and I want y'all to hit this good. There's a saying. They say, he who will laugh last always laughs the best. So when the people that's laughing at you, when you see them go away to prison time after time after time, and you slowly scaled your way up, right? You're going to be the person that they're going to wish they was. Go ahead.
What advice do you have for a 30-year-old man who is raising a family with a wife but can't figure out how to make real money to support them other than working 2 to 3 part-time jobs just to get by?
I would say sometimes we got to downsize so we can save money. Like I know a family right now that moved into a room, and they moved into a room with the intentions on saving bread. Sometimes you go backwards to go forward better. You can't have convenience when you're in struggle. You got to make yourself uncomfortable. You can't have convenience when you're in struggle. You got to make yourself very uncomfortable. So again, if this man that just said that, if he puts himself in a room, right, all his family in a room and we share in this space, it's going to save you money, 1. 2, it's going to make you as a man realize, like, I got to do more. But you downsize so you can go back forward better. You don't come to a dead-end block and cry. What you do is you put that goddamn car in reverse, you back that thing up, and then you go the opposite direction, going back towards being great. Sometimes that's life. But you got to be willing to do it. And you can't look at yourself, because having a plan is being a man. Having a plan is being a man. You have to have a plan. And I'm not talking about vocally. Action backed by your words. A man has to have a plan. Sitting around talking about what you're gonna do every day and doing absolutely nothing is a level of delusion. It's delusion. I'm gonna. It's never gonna happen. So again, a man has to have a plan. So sometimes we go backwards with the intentions to go forward better. So if I had to move my family in a room, we gotta do what we gotta do. It is what it is. What you say, Tyler?
Somebody said also, how do you feel about black people who sell their businesses to the highest bidder instead of another black person?
I think 50-50 on that. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and I'm gonna keep it logical with you. I'm not really super racial. If you don't know that about me, I believe in equal opportunity, but I do believe I shouldn't have to take shorts because you black. I shouldn't have to come in your restaurant and have horrible service because you black. I shouldn't have to accept less when I'm paying the same amount of money because you black. I don't believe in that mentality, right? But if someone else does, that's on them. But for me, I do believe that black businesses should be trying to sell more to black businesses. Just like Jewish sell houses to Jews. White people sell houses to white people. I do believe that you should give an opportunity first. But again, if your bidders aren't looking like what you want them to look like, you're going to sell to the next possible bidder. And that's such as life. America got to get off this color thing and start learning that we just all are one people. The ignorance is what separates blacks and whites. It's ignorance. I meet ignorant black people. I meet ignorant white people. I meet very sophisticated white people that actually help black people. And I meet some black people that don't care about black and white. They try to help everybody else. I do believe that we got to get out of this mentality of someone being an Uncle Tom or someone being a sellout because of the fact that they learned how to monetize on the system. A bootlicker, right? You're not a bootlicker because you realize they're doing the right thing. I'm tired of being in a culture where people glorify doing ignorance. I'm gonna say it again, I'm tired of being in a culture of people who glorify ignorance, who get mad if you tell on somebody for doing something illegal. You work at McDonald's. You're not street. You don't have to be a street person. Let the street people live by the street rules and you live by the civilian rules. If these YNs want to run around and hurt people in the area, get them the hell out the streets. Because the only time you're going to care is when it's your mother or father. Ignorance is ignorance. The other day, the guy said to me, he said, yo, Q, I would never in my life let my children be a cop. I said, so do me a favor. He said, what? I said, you should never in your life complain about the white man harassing your kid. He looked at me and said, what you say? I said, think about that, what you just said. You would never want your children to be a cop, but then you'll get mad at the white man that's policing your area who's allegedly harassing your children. That is diabolical. But again, if you can't see that as a black man, you want your area being policed by people that look like you more because they will understand you more. I don't make everything black and white, I make it logical. I would agree a black cop in a blacker area would understand black people better than a white guy. That's common sense. A white man in a white area would understand white people better than white people, black people. It's common sense. But if you telling these young men and women, don't be cops, and then you mad at the fact that they're sending people into those environments who have no experience in those environments, you can't get upset. You can't get upset. What you should be telling these young men and these women to do, yo, brother, there's too many rats in the streets already. I think a lot of y'all need to start becoming cops. It's too many rats in the streets already. A lot of y'all need to start becoming cops. Why? Because you get a great pension. You can retire in 22 and a half years with great medical for the rest of your life. 22 years. But if you talk like that, oh my God, he's a solo. If my son told me right now I want to be a cop or he will go to the service, I'm like, yo, go ahead. It's a beautiful thing. Listen, you want your son on the corner being all he could be. I'd rather my son being in the military being all he could be. You want your son on the corner fighting the bullets on the streets. I want my son overseas literally putting himself in position to be greater for a country that he say he loves. These kids be having weapons of mass destruction. And you call that regular. That's normal. But again, it's what we allowed. If you don't police your own culture, stop crying about other cultures policing you. If you don't police your own culture, stop complaining about other cultures policing you. Of course, a lot of them don't have experience. So of course, they're gonna move with a level of scariness. It's just what it is. And I sit back every day and I watch all these old heads and I'm like, damn, you are doing the same old two-step. The same old dance. The same excuse. You have the same mentality. And a lot of us aren't seeing that we need to change our lives. We're getting older, which is the blessing in itself. You got old people right now that still got an attitude like when they were 16. You 40 years old, still got an attitude of a 16-year-old. What you is and what you ain't gonna do. Go ahead, Tyler.
Someone said realizing speaking the truth always makes enemies or people to shy away from you. First off, why is that and how do you deal with it?
Why is that? Is because anytime you challenge somebody with intellect, they always get insecure. Anytime you come with somebody with logic and they have emotions, emotions always fight logic. So anytime you have a high vibrational person, low vibration enters the room, low vibration tries to take over because low vibration hates to be challenged. High vibrational people love to be challenged. They love when you can come with scientific proven facts to show them. A person that has a low IQ, I don't care what kind of degree you have, a low IQ person tends to not like to be ever challenged. When you challenge someone that has a low IQ, they run from logic and they make it about their feelings. Once you know your feelings are in the room, you should already know that this is no way in hell you high IQ because you're trying to fight an argument with your feelings. And that's why you see a lot of people right now in today's society, they get offended when you challenge them with logic. If I tell you right now, somebody say to me, let's say it's a man, he tells me he's heavy, I say, get to the gym. Weren't you trying to call me fat? Yes. You're very fat. Yes. Let's get back to those times. And on top of it, let's get even further. I love you enough to tell you that you're not healthy. I love you enough to tell you that you're not healthy. You're high risk for high blood pressure, high diabetes, high cholesterol. But if we say this, you're offensive. No, this is a person that gives a damn about you. We've been so conditioned to believe that the person that tells the truth is the hater. I don't hate your cholesterol. I don't want my friend to have diabetes. We talking logical. But again, if we can't talk like this, we're going to continue to create a false narrative. And this false narrative is going to continue to hurt the culture. Bringing the culture down and down and down and down. Listen, I'm a type of, homeboy, I call one of my friends lazy. If they being lazy, it is what it is. I'm that kind of person. Because especially when I say something like that about you, it's because I see things in you that you're better than that. But again, if I can't say that to you, what's the whole point of being around you? If I can't voice my opinion, I want y'all to hear this good. 9 out of 10 times, if you can't voice your opinion around somebody, it's because you're dealing with a freaking narcissist. Narcissistic people don't like to hear anything about themselves. They hate it. It's like it's triggering for them. Like we can't be like that. Whether I agree or disagree with you, I'm going to give you respect. And that's what you see with those old guys on the corner. The moment you go to them with logic, the first thing they do is they get impulsive. That's what your feelings are. Impulsive, irate, uncontrollable, right? Furious, angry. That's what low IQ is. They don't have the mentality where it's like, damn. So let's decipher this. Let's break break this down. That's a high IQ person. People got this mentality just because you have an IQ. I met some of the dumbest people with degrees. The dumbest people on earth with degrees. It's just what it is. Because they don't have no common sense. Because there's no degree in common sense. There is no degree in common sense. Common sense comes from life practices. Common sense comes from experience. Common sense comes from dealing with people that experience things and learning from them, mentorship. Common sense is the lost art in today's society. Most people do not have common sense. Most people got no goddamn sense. And that's just the truth. But again, to my old heads, it's time you pull your pants up. It's time you start putting in some applications, go to school, go get a trade, go get your GED. There's nothing wrong with a GED, brothers. It's never too late. And I'm not trying to play you, but I'm just telling you facts. Some people sitting there right now at a dead end, waiting for them to build a new road. And that dead end is going to stay a dead end for a long time. So it's time for us to Start doing better. Let's get our credentials up. All I hear is people crying about the AI that's coming, but they ain't doing nothing to make them more valuable with the AI coming. You sitting there waiting, complaining. Go get some more trades. Go get some more skills. I watched a young man teach himself cybersecurity by YouTube. From YouTube. Taught himself cybersecurity from YouTube. And then went to school and passed it with flying colors and got a job in cybersecurity. I'm going to say this on record, and someone's going to get offended, but I want y'all to hear this good. I think the cheat code in America to being successful is when you're an American, but you think like a foreigner. Foreigners have a mentality that is so different from the American mentality. They don't have this high sense of entitlement. They're willing to do what they got to do. And I think we need to get back there. Let's stop waiting for things to happen and start making things happen. To those old heads that don't want to grow up, life gonna leave you behind. And you're gonna realize that you wasted a lot of your time. A lot of your time. And I'm gonna say this before I get out of here today. Life, it's not always about where you've been. It's about where you're going. Sometimes you might have went the wrong way. But today's the day that you change your directions. Humble yourself. Learn. Educate yourself. Stop being fearful of losing. Because anytime you lose, it's truly a lesson. And L is only a lesson. So again, if you feel like you're scared, every day take one more step to becoming great, and you'll realize you're starting to get on that path to be great. No more excuses. No more lying to yourself. Stop blaming the world. Stop complaining about your dad who wasn't there, and become the dad that you wish you had. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.